A lot of us who enjoy gardening live in subdivisions with a typical rectangular lot. Today, we're in that type of space, but the gardens are anything but cookie cutter. I'm here with my friend Jim Stacy, and Jim, you have done a beautiful job.
We appreciate that. We try real hard to accent, God's creation and the natural things that are here, like the rocks and the trees, and so we want things to not be squared off so much. We want them to be rounded and sculpted, and that seems to draw attention to it.
So you've got a round area here, like you said, versus a squared off area that most people typically do in their flower beds because it's easier to square it off.
Right.
But what you've done is you've worked with the curves of this. So tell us how you kind of started this bed, because it's a beautiful focal point actually that draws your eye to your front door.
Well, originally we had these trees that we wanted to emphasize, and then we actually moved some of these rocks in from other parts of the property. And we honestly, we had somebody to come in at first and do the initial sculpting. And he designed some of this, and then since then we've replaced a lot of plants, concerned with what grows better in shade versus sun and so on. And the elephant ears have been phenomenal, and we get so many comments on that. They're just now beginning. A little later on, they'll, you can make a dress out of one of the leaves.
Right. And so, Jim, what you've done here is you've taken an ordinary little area and you've turned it into something interesting by having lots of different shapes and colors and almost even textures in this area right here.
Right.
I love it. So Jim, this is your sunny area. You had a beautiful shade area, and now you're utilizing the sun in this little side garden.
Right. We have so many shade trees that it's difficult to grow vegetables and some of the flowers that need a lot of sun. So this is about it, except for going out by the road, and we wouldn't want to do that. But this garden then we developed sometime after the original landscaping, and these rock actually came from a place that we have up in Cannon County.
Oh,
brought
wonderful.
them in, and so I carried on the theme of the sculpting,
right,
rather than just squared off, and so we've been really pleased with it. And Judy's lilies are just phenomenal.
They're beautiful.
And these taller ones are stargazers.
And what I like about this is you raised this bed, so you utilized these rocks from your other place to build up the area. I'm assuming that you're like me here in Rutherford County. Your land is full of rocks.
Well, it has a creek on it, and also it has part of an old rock fence, and so that gave us the rocks to use. And the raised bed works much better around here because the ground is so rocky and dry, and we continually add compost to it. So that's, you have to keep adding back natural things to the soil.
That's right. This garden is situated right on what looks like your property line, because I see your neighbor's driveway there.
Right.
So how did you incorporate that with your plan?
Well, when we moved here, there was actually a somewhat of a raised garden here before, and we wanted to make sure we didn't encroach on the neighbors or make anything unsightly for them. So we tried to make it as pretty as we could and try to keep it clean. And they don't have any problem with it. In fact, the little son over there, we always give him cucumbers. He loves cucumbers, so and other things we share with them, so they're happy with it.
Well, it almost is like you've enhanced their property as well as your own.
That's true. We get comments from them from time to time that they have friends that come and say, "Wow, they have a beautiful yard over there." So that's good for them and us too.
Absolutely. I love this little vegetable garden that's hidden behind these beautiful, massive lilies and flowers. So this is actually a relatively small vegetable garden that you have here.
Right. Very, very small, but very productive. To make sure the soil is rich, I have some water on it grow enough tomatoes that all that we can eat and give to other people. In fact, last year I actually canned about 46 pints.
That's a lot of canning.
Right. And then we have the okra, which produces what we call it green candy when it's fried up. So all that we can eat and give some of that away. And then over here I have cucumbers that are on a trellis, and so they grow hanging down, and it keeps them clean and
easy to harvest.
Yeah, you get a good clean harvest and lots of them, so we give a lot of those away as well.
What I like is that you've lined your vegetable garden again with flowers.
Right.
This is a healthy looking collection of celosa here at the edge of your vegetable bed. These will bloom in July and put on quite the show. And beyond that, they'll attract bees and other pollinators to this spot.
They're almost invasive, but when they all bloom, they'll be pretty red, and they're just really beautiful surrounding the garden.
I love it, Jim, and you've got easy access. Again, it's a little bit raised with your rock that you've utilized for curve.
Right.
And what you've done is you've made this into a usable space that would normally just be mowed.
That's right, and it's very useful, and also we think pretty.
I believe I totally agree with you. We mentioned earlier that you've got so much shade.
Right.
And so what you're doing in the back here is you're making the plants transition from shade to sun.
Right.
So what you've got here is pots, but you're able to move them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some of them are so big they have to be on rollers to move them. In fact, a lot of these plants are taken inside. Like, for example, these crown of thorns are a wonderful plant because they bloom year-round. Before frost, we'll take them inside, and during the winter they'll start to have some dried leaves on them. So Judy takes her little tongs, because they are thorny.
Yes, they are. There's lots of thorns.
Kind of shakes them and shakes the leaves off, and then sweeps them up. But they're just astounding. The only thing they have to have is, like me, they have to have their caffeine. They love coffee, so she gives them her extra coffee in the mornings when she doesn't finish it all. But they're just an amazing plant, and some of the other, like the plumerias, they go in the garage.
So Jim, this is just a good tip for people to keep in mind, that things don't have to stay where you put them. You can move them around to fit the plant.
Right. Judy will move them around as the sun shifts, during the season. She'll move them around so they can get the sun they need or the shade they need, and it works really well. So.
It's a good tip.
Especially for her moving them and not me. So.
Yeah, that's right. And rollers help a lot, don't they?
Right.
So thank you so much for letting us see what is possible in just a normal suburban lot that you can turn into something exquisite and tranquil and beautiful and peaceful.
Right, and it just gives us a sense of accomplishment and the peace and the tranquility that God's creation brings us. So.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
For inspiring garden tours, growing tips, and garden projects, visit our website at volunteergardener.org or on YouTube at the Volunteer Gardener channel, and like us on Facebook.